Good afternoon, Billings. Welcome to Billings Sports Talk on KBLG. A special edition of Billings Sports Talk today. We are up at Montana State University Billings, formerly known as Eastern Montana College. And we're going to spend 2 hours talking about the Yellow Jackets, a lot of it dealing with the upcoming winter sports. And we've got some conversation, too, with some of the fall sports that are going on here. But obviously, at this time of the day, a lot of teams are still practicing. And so we'll hear from men's soccer, and we'll hear from cross country a little later on in the program. And before we get going here with a couple of guests I have with me from the women's basketball program, I just thought I'd share a little bit of history about MSU Billings, if you're not aware. So it was founded in 1927 as Eastern Montana Normal School. Did you guys know this, by the way, Alisha Breen?
I actually did, because there's Normal Avenue just down the way. That's one of the only reasons why I knew that, though.
All right. Points for you. And we're here with Rylee Kane from the basketball program and Alisha Breen. But at the time, Billings had 15,000 people. The first building on campus, McMullen Hall, was in 1935, 8 years after the school opened, so classes were downtown before that. And in 1949, it became the Eastern Montana College of Education. 1965, Eastern Montana College. And then in 1995, MSU Billings, the current iteration. The athletic department here in the programs, there are 15 varsity sports serving 240 student athletes, of which 2 are sitting here with me. Started at the same time in 1927 and 1928. Program went to NAIA to Division II in 1980. Some real history here, and these young women are a part of that. Men's basketball has won 18 league titles, and women's basketball has won 9. And the men's basketball program has been to 10 NAIA tournaments and 10 NCAA Division II tournaments. And the women's basketball program is almost equally successful. I believe now 13 NCAA tournaments. So you're a part of some real history here. So we turn to Alisha and your teammate here from Red Lodge. You guys were rivals in high school. We were talking about this beforehand. What's it like, Rylee, and what's it like, Alisha, to be teammates with somebody that you played basketball, well, you didn't really know about basketball, but volleyball in high school against?
We did. I'm happy to have her on my team, that's for sure. I was on the losing end of a lot of games in high school in volleyball. Red Lodge took it to us a lot, but Rylee brings a competitive edge to the game, and she does a great job as our floor general, pushing the ball, calling out offenses, leading the team on defense. So it's really great to have her. And I don't know where we'd be without her, honestly. She does a great job as point guard.
Well, I should say, yes, Rylee's the point guard, averaging almost 5 assists a game. And so you're a great benefactor of that, because I should say, too, Alisha is a preseason All-America. How does that feel to hear that?
It's quite an honor. It really is. I put in a lot of time with the girls, and it's neat to see that the coaches have recognized me for that and given me that accolade already. But it's preseason, so definitely have to work towards that. But like you said, with Rylee, she does a great job finding me. There's sometimes where I don't think anybody knows that I'm open on a wing, and then all of a sudden there's a ball flying towards me, and Rylee found it for an easy 2 points or an easy drive to the basket. So.
And on the other hand, Rylee, what is it like to have somebody like Alisha, who apparently is pretty good at finishing?
Well, it's actually really awesome to have someone like Alisha on our team.
Okay.
And she's probably one of the best leaders that we've had, and just having her out there, it really gives a sense of calm when she's out on the court, and so I think it'll be a good year for us, especially having Alisha out there.
Tell me a little bit about how both of you ended up here. You just came from down the road at Red Lodge. Mm-hmm. Shodo on the Rocky Mountain front, 2 places, as I was saying before the show, 2 of my favorite places in Montana, so you've come a little farther, although largely a Montana roster here. But how did you both end up at MSU Billings?
Well, I did. When I was thinking of colleges to go to, I really wanted to go somewhere that was close to home. And when I went on my recruiting visit, I wanted to be with a team that felt really close and welcoming. And I felt it was like the perfect fit when I showed up. And speaking of Alisha, before I knew her, I didn't really I wasn't very fond of her, but I found out she was really nice. She was one of the most welcoming people ever, and so she actually really helped with that experience, and that's how I ended up here.
Yeah, let's explore these feelings a little bit. They go back to high school. And maybe talk a little bit more about that rivalry. I mean, you were losing to Red Lodge, but she's not fond of you. What's the deal?
Well, from my point of view, I've always been a quieter person. I'm not very vocal, and Alisha was the complete opposite, and we'd play each other, and they were just so obnoxious. So we were just opposites, but now, I see her, and obviously now on the basketball court, that's the most, she needs to be loud and she needs to be vocal, and she's actually taught me that I need to do that too, and so that's how I learned to actually become a vocal leader, is through Alisha. So
I think obnoxious was a good word, because that's exactly what she told me the first time. We actually talked about it in the ice bath one time. When I was a freshman, it was just kind of awkward. We knew we'd played against each other, and then finally we just kind of broke the ice and talked about it. And she straight up told me that she hated playing Shoto, even though they won. And it was because I'm very vocal. I can be a little too competitive sometimes too. And I think Rylee, being the quiet person she was, I was probably a little intimidating to when she came here as her freshman year, but she's completely stepped up, and she's one of the most vocal people on the court besides myself now, which is really fun to see how much she's grown in, the couple years that she's been here.
Well, just before we get to your season here, what is it about Class B in Montana? I mean, there's the Huntley Project, Red Lodge volleyball rivalry. I mean, it seems like all these Class B teams really got something going on.
I think it's small town. I don't know. I think growing up, you have to develop a work ethic, because I don't know what it is. I guess I was just instilled a work ethic when I was younger, and then we're competitive. For me, we had a great volleyball team in the north, but then the south was so dominant volleyball-wise. But then I was in a very dominant class for basketball, and I had a hard time getting out of divisionals because I had Fairfield and Malta. And I think it's just a competitive nature that's around Class B.
yeah, I think so too. Especially with specific sports, I think some teams excel more than others. So like for us in volleyball, a lot of times it was just us and Huntley competing, and so I think that made that rivalry even greater. And then we'd go down to Shoto and play them, and it was just like we would just go head to head. So I think that has a lot to do with it too.
All right, you two, stick with me for just a minute. We need to take a commercial break, but when we come back, we'll talk a little bit with Alisha and Rylee about MSU Billings women's basketball season, and Coach Kevin Wooden will join us shortly as well. All right, Jack, good to hear your voice, and we'll see you next week. And I'm sitting here at MSU Billings in the athletic department talking with Alisha Breen and Rylee Kane of the women's basketball program, and Kevin Wooden, the head coach, will be joining us just shortly. Alisha and Rylee, this is a program with quite a bit of tradition, both on the court and actually academically, and I'm not even sure that people are really as aware of what happens up here as maybe they should be. Talk a little bit about that, and is there a certain pressure to follow in these footsteps, and again, both athletically and academically?
I think tradition is exactly what it is. We come into this program and you're expected, to perform well in the classroom. For starters, we have high grade point average as a team, and Coach does a really good job recruiting girls that he can trust, and he knows he's not going to have to hound about going to class and hound about doing their homework and whatnot. And then as far as on the court, I think if you have a good work ethic in the classroom, it translates over onto the court. We have great team chemistry, which is really nice. We don't have to worry about problems between girls on the court, off the court, and it's done us really well in the past. Last year we had a really successful year. My freshman, sophomore year, very successful. And I think it just goes back again to the work ethic and the type of girls that Coach recruits. And we work together really well as a team, and we hold each other accountable. I think that's a big part of it too, whether it's in the classroom, in the weight room, on the court, everything, all of the above. We expect everybody to give it their best. So that's definitely, and then I think that just is the tradition that's what Coach expects, and that's what the upperclassmen definitely hold the freshmen accountable for.
Rylee, you're 50 miles down the road and you have a recruiting visit. I'm sure you had some awareness of what was going on up here. Talk about, as a sophomore after 2 years, what you knew about the expectations and what the I guess the culture of this program is all about.
When I was getting recruited and when I was going on my visits, that was actually seeing the MSUB basketball team and just watching. I mean, I saw it on the news all the time, and I'm so close I could come to games, and just watching all that, it was awesome to see and get that feel. And so I knew coming in that I was going to have high expectations as well, and I think Coach does a really good job of letting you know what the expectations are, and that carries over both in the classroom and on the court as well.
Okay, and quickly from both of you, on the court, the expectations this year, you start with a preseason All-American. You've had some good, consistent seasons here. Where can this team go?
Well, coming off of last year, we finished with a really good season, and I think that we can do the same thing this year. I think we're less worried about the expectations from everyone else and more about our own expectations and focusing on our team and really getting as much as we can out of every practice and every preseason game and just carrying that on throughout our season.
All right, and Alisha.
I couldn't agree more. As a senior, you just realize everything's kind of coming to an end. So my expectations are really high, and I get on the girls in practice probably a little more than I have in the past. You want to get back to the conference tournament. We got to go to regionals. I've had the opportunity to be there twice. So you want a regional berth, and it starts in the preseason. Every game is important. And practices, everything, it comes down, it could be this littlest, it could be one game that's the difference between a regional berth and whatnot. So I'm excited. I have high hopes for this team. Looking forward to it.
All right. Good luck to both of you, Alisha Breen and Rylee Kane. I'm really happy to see you've put the Red Lodge Shoto thing behind you and become sisters here in this program. And Coach Kevin Wooden will be joining us in just a minute.